Hello and welcome to the English Magnet. Today's video, the future simple made easy. By learning how to form and use the future simple tense, you can plan future activities, make predictions, and communicate more effectively in both spoken and written English. We'll cover two structures, when to use them by highlighting their subtle differences, the related key time words, and common mistakes to be aware of. Okay, let's get to work. Structures of the future simple. Check this out. There are two ways to express a future event or action, and they are arguably the easiest structures to memorize. Look at that. Subject plus will plus base form. One way to express the future is to use the modal verb will and the base form of the verb. That's it. Example: I will be more knowledgeable at the end of the video. You will write the invitations later. All subjects follow the same format, so they make the same contractions. Example: he will forget to call becomes he'll forget to call. We will eat in a minute becomes we'll eat in a minute. Obviously, there's a negative form. Subject plus will plus not plus base form. Or subject plus won't plus base form. If you feel like using a contraction, no worries, it's free of charge. Example: she will not shuffle the cards. Or she won't shuffle the cards. It will not close for another hour. Or it won't close for another hour. You want to ask a question using the future? Just swap the subject and will or won't, like this. Example: will they answer the phone after working hours? Won't you finish your meal? Will you not help us? Now, there's another way to express the future tense in English, and it's almost as straightforward as the first form. The structure is subject plus to be plus going to plus base form. So we can substitute will with to be plus going to. A key difference is that to be has to be conjugated in the present simple. So it's either am, are, or is. The going to part doesn't change ever. So let's revisit the previous examples for comparison's sake. Example: I am going to be more knowledgeable at the end of the video. You are going to write the invitations later. You can do the same contractions as in the present simple with the subject and am, are, or is. Example: he is going to forget to call becomes he's going to forget to call. We are going to eat in a minute becomes we're going to eat in a minute. Negative statements might look trickier, but they're pretty simple. The particle not goes after the verb to be, like in the present simple. So you get either am not, are not, aren't, is not, or isn't, plus going to, plus base form. That's pretty much it. Example: she is not going to shuffle the cards. Or she isn't going to shuffle the cards. It is not going to close for another hour. Or it isn't going to close for another hour. For questions, again, the subject and the verb to be must switch places. The negative contraction form is also part of the switch, but not will stay behind if left as a single word. Example: are they going to answer the phone after working hours? Aren't you going to finish your meal? Are you not going to help us? Uses. Put simply, the future simple is used to talk about actions and events taking place in the future, so after the present. As we saw earlier, there are two ways to express the future. So let's look at their uses side by side to better grasp their differences in meaning. But keep in mind that in day-to-day conversations, these forms are considered interchangeable, in many scenarios at least. Still, understanding their precise uses is good practice and the way to go in your learning journey. You never know when you'll have to write an important message or speak to someone in a formal context. So, without further ado, quick decisions versus calculated decisions. The will structure is used more often to convey a decision taken in the moment, while the going to format refers to a well-studied and thought-out decision. Example: I'm thirsty. I will get some water. No need to mull over a basic human need. I'm thirsty. Boom, water will do it. I am going to see my folks this weekend. There's probably a family gathering for a relative's birthday, so this has been decided beforehand. Belief-based prediction versus evidence-based prediction. Will is used to convey a prediction based on one's opinion, while going to requires some factual support. Example: I think it won't snow tomorrow. The speaker believes it won't snow. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. No evidence to support such a claim. It's going to snow tomorrow. That's what the weather forecast said. The speaker's prediction is based more on evidence since the Weather Channel predicted it. Certain event versus planned event. Will is used to express intentions or formal announcements, while going to focuses on plans in progress. The former focuses more on one's personal conviction, while the latter might involve more parties in the planning process. Example: I will sign the contract. This states an intention backed by a sense of personal certainty. We're going to stay in a bed and breakfast. This is a planned event. Steps were taken, like booking a room. Promises, threats, offers, and refusals with will. These types of statements all hold a high level of certainty, and when expressing one of these declarations, the will form is preferred. Example: I will water your plants daily while you're away. That's a promise. Your plants are in good hands. If you keep pranking me, I will retaliate 10 times harder. That's a threat, a strong warning about possible retribution. I'll give you a lift to the airport if you need one. That's an offer. This future action can be helpful to you. You take it or you leave it. I won't go skydiving. It freaks me out. That's a refusal. Using won't or will not helps convey that an action is not happening in the future. Key time words. In the future simple, whether you use the will or going to form, the same time words apply. There's a wide variety of them, but they all have one thing in common. They refer to a future time. What a coincidence! In plus specific time period. In a minute, in 2 weeks, in half a year, in a century. Example: she'll finish the repairs in a week. The repair will be over in about 7 days. They're going to meet their lawyers in 48 hours. There's an appointment scheduled in 2 days from now. this or next plus time word. This time, next morning, this hour, next day, this month. Example, we'll go to the store next Friday. The following Friday marks the time we go to the store. Steve's going to start a new career this month. The new career start is taking place at some point in the future, but during the current month. Time words referring to the future. Soon, which means after a short time. Later, which means in the future. Eventually, which means after some time. Tomorrow, which means the day after today. One day, which means at an unclear time in the future. There are many more, but these are rather common. Example, you'll get in the mood soon. Getting in the mood is happening in a short time from now. Eventually, she's going to come around to the idea. It's going to take some time, but after a while, she'll warm up to the idea. Common mistakes. Will or going to plus can. The modal verb can just doesn't fit in the future simple. Go for be able to instead. This will allow you to express a future possibility or capability. You just have to remove I, will, can from your vocabulary. They're not compatible. It's like mixing oil and water. It just doesn't work. Example, Al can bake the eclairs once Bob's back with the ingredients. Should be, I'll be able to bake the eclairs once Bob's back with the ingredients. You're going to can see the rings of Saturn with this brand new telescope. Should be, you're going to be able to see the rings of Saturn with this brand new telescope. Won't or gonna plus to. Won't is a totally acceptable contraction in all situations. But remember, it's followed by the base form of the verb, not the preposition to. You can totally use gonna as an informal contraction of going to when you talk in an informal situation. But remember as well, the preposition to is already in gonna, so no need to repeat it. Example, he won't to talk to her anymore. Should be, he won't talk to her anymore. We're gonna to move to Boston in August. Should be, we're gonna move to Boston in August. Ideally, you should write going to, but it's very commonly used. And besides, the irony of us actually writing it down isn't lost on us. So go ahead and use it when it fits. It's important to acknowledge the dynamic part of the language. There you have it, the future simple in all its simplicity. Hopefully, you'll use it soon. And if you're in the mood, be sure to watch more of our videos. Also, a link to some free material to practice by yourselves can be found in the description below. Keep practicing and you'll get the hang of it. Thank you for watching. Until next time.